Hi. Hi, you geniuses. Are you ready to draw? I am so glad you decided to spend your part of your day with us here at Hour of Pencil Power. Wait. Hour of Pencil Power. We have a really cool special Saturday edition here. We have joined forces with NASA Artemis moon mission team. So exciting. We're going back to the moon in 2024. Can you believe it? 2024. Put it in your calendars. I have so many cool people with us today. I'll introduce them after I do my warm-up drawing. But let's roll this. Hey, hi. I am so excited. I'm going to start drawing it. We'll do a warm-up drawing of a pencil rocket because today we're going to be drawing the Artemis. I'll put it on this camera here. This is what we're going to draw. We're going to draw the Artemis, NASA's SLS, the Space Launch System. In order to do that, I'm going to do a warm-up drawing to get you guys your hands all loosened up and your imagination all warmed up. So take your pencil. Let's just do like a 2 or 3 minute warm up just to get yourself your ideas rolling and your pencil loose and comfortable. Now I'm going to draw a guideline. Now this is going to be the same angle. So it's look at I'm being loose and sketchy, be scribbly, doesn't matter. But that's when we have an eraser, right? We can erase our lines. So just very lightly, I'm going to want my Artemis, my SLS, my space launch system, the largest rocket ever to lift off the planet Earth ever. It's so cool. Taking off. I want to put it in that angle. So I think that's cool. Now, right here. So you draw the light line. Do you have the light line? Now, if you do, go ahead and on your Facebook or on your YouTube, send Jack Moore, NASA artist Jack Moore, and NASA extraordinaire educator Patricia Moore, the dynamic duo, the married team of our amazing Hour Pencil Power NASA edition. Thanks, you guys, for organizing and directing this whole effort. Um, Here, draw the foreshortened circle. Now, if you're keeping up with us, send a text, and Patricia and Jack will tell me that you guys are keeping up. We're just going to draw this pencil real quick. Now, on today's episode, this really cool episode, Saturday edition, thanks for your patience. We had a little delay today, but that's one of the exciting things of live drawing is that we just kind of go with the flow, right? We just kind of whatever happens and we creatively solve it. As one of my contemporaries said, our happy accidents, Bob Ross. He and our shows were on at the same time. He was such a chill guy. He was very, very cool, just as cool as he was on camera. Well, today, talking about cool people, we have a very, very cool guy, Dan Fraga from Fraga Boom, the international sensation Fraga Boom. Dan has been illustrating comic books for forever. He's an old viewer of my show. He watched me when he was a kid. It's so cool, and that's how we met through his past watching the show and growing up, being inspired by the Secret City and drawing. He's worked on DC Comics, Marvel Comics, Image Comics. He was the director for which I love, the Ricky Gervais show. He's done so much, and he's going to tell you all about it. But Dan, I'm so excited you're here with us today. That is so awesome, and we have one of the big cheeses, one of the head honchos. He's really modest. He hates when I do this, but it's so cool. We have Tyler Nestor. Not only do we have Tyler, we have his wife Megan and his 3 kids, and we have Owen and James and Maya. So I'm so glad you guys are with us today. And we have my son Mario back here, and he he wants to he wants to mow the lawn. Can you wait till after the show? Yeah. Uh, you want to wait till afterwards? Oh yeah, okay. You go for it. You go do it. All right. We want to say hi first before you go out. All right. We had it all rehearsed for Mario to be here with me, but he's in a lawn mowing. Okay, come here, Mario. Come on, let's do our hi. We're gonna do this in about a half hour into the show, but he's not gonna make it. Say hi, Mario. We love you, son. All right, give me a fist bump. Oh, you're gonna do it. All right. You're gonna go mow. All right. He's when you got to mow when you got to mow. We have the most lawn mowed yard in all of Houston. All right, so let's get back. Thank you. I love you, son. You're doing great. I he his but all these different rehearsals. He's kind of had his fill of dad in the studio today. All right, so there's our warm-up pencil right here. Look, we used foreshortened circle, one of the 12 Renaissance words. If you learn those 12, you can draw anything in 3D. And I want to encourage all of you parents out there, all of you adults, please look at the camera, the correct camera. Please just try this seriously. I guarantee you, if you can draw your name, if you can write your name, I say draw your name, you can draw. I swear. Just try it. Take that creative risk. Give yourself permission. We'll be talking about this. Give yourself this license. I'll put it on here. Give yourself a license. Give yourself that creative permission to take a risk, take a chance, stretch out of your comfort zone. Okay? This right here, give yourself a license to flop. And you're not going to today. You're going to draw a great little rocket with this. All right? Curve it. This is contour. This is contour lines. Curving contour lines give your drawing shape and volume. And you're going to notice something today when we're drawing the SLS, the Space Launch System. We'll be using foreshortening. We'll be using size. Things get smaller as they move away. We'll be using shading down here. Now, I'm going to be listening to the technical experts from Tyler and Patricia and Jack. And so during the main lesson, I'll be listening a lot more than you guys are used to. At least I hope I am. I'm in my head. I'm thinking, please don't step on our amazing guest. Okay. And at the end, we'll be able to compare our three different rockets. We'll see Dan Fraga from Fraga Boom. We'll see his rocket. We'll see Jack Moore, NASA Arts Jack Moore. These both old students of mine. This is really cool. And then you look at mine. So you have three versions, and we'll post all these on our Instagram and our Facebook, and maybe on one of the NASA platforms. So, Jack, what you want to roll the video? Of 100, I hope. Episode one, we had John Streeter, right? John Streeter, I got it right. John Streeter, he was so cool. And today we have Tyler Nestor, amazing. I'm getting good with names, Tyler. So I'm going to start the lesson. I'll just start drawing, and I'm going to let Jack go through the introductions again, and I'll just start drawing. All right, Jack, you go.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having us, man. This is so cool. We're excited to be here. We got our nephew here. You want to say hi? Hi.
Hi.
In a few words, he's got a Superman shirt on there. So we're excited to come in and draw.
Hello, nephew. Hello.
Hold on. I got to cut to. I missed it. I got to cut to your minion. There
Oh,
it is.
here, I'll put it on this one.
All
That's
right.
fine.
So
Hi,
today,
nephew.
We're excited to draw SLS. So this is the Space Launch System, and this is the world's most powerful rocket. When it flies, it'll be the single most powerful rocket, and it is actually launching something really cool, the Orion spacecraft. Check that out. That's it inside there. This capsule right up there, that's Orion, and that is taking the next man and the first woman to the surface of the moon in 2024, and we are super excited and very excited to be here drawing with everybody. So we do have a very cool thing online we want to make sure everyone knows about. We'll post this in the links, but NASA has put out this awesome activity about how to draw Artemis. So this has got some awesome factoids and some step-by-step instructions. So we encourage you, if you want, you can download this and use it as we are drawing today. But you know what? One of the great things about drawing is bringing your own creativity and your own ideas to how you're going to create something. So what we're going to do is come up with a couple of different ways to draw it. So I'm going to draw mine today so that the Artemis is like launching and we're in space on the space station watching it like zoom by us. So that's going to be the perspective I'm going to draw today. Let's cut over here to Dan Fraga. Dan, good seeing you, man. So what
Hey
are your
man,
thoughts? How are you going to draw Artemis today?
I think I'm gonna draw Artemis kind of coming towards us, and then also I draw really fast, so I'm also gonna draw an astronaut in the corner, just
Oh
kind
my.
of looking at us, giving us a thumbs up.
I
Now,
love it.
yeah, now I've seen how fast you can draw, so I hope there's also like a moon with like detailed rocks on the surface and like comets flying
I
by.
can do that.
Okay.
I can do that. I'll
Awesome.
do that.
Awesome. And we'll cut over here to Mark. Mark, what are you thinking about for Artemis? How are you going to depict it
Oh
today?
well, even with our week of rehearsal, I've already started my drawing. I'm looking at the outline and I'm okay. Now this is episode 2. It's gonna be smooth, and I've already started my drawing. So if you see this, I'm gonna make mine very similar to this one. I love that seeing the back booster rockets and stuff. It's
Very
gonna be really
cool.
cool. It's gonna be great. Well, I'll show you. Here, you can want to see a quick scribble of what it here. Here's my quick sketch. This is our rehearsal. Okay.
All right, there. Oh,
It's
whoop,
gonna,
I missed
it's
it.
gonna
Can you
look
put
cool.
it back? I wasn't
Oh,
quick
Too
enough
yeah.
on
fast, too fast.
Well, you
Wasn't
can
quick enough on the
well,
mouse.
you see all my notes.
Awesome.
You see all my notes.
Awesome.
So,
All right.
so Tyler, I know you've got lots of folks in your kitchen that are all drawing along. So, as we're getting started, why don't you tell us a little bit about what it means to be one of the big cheeses of SLS?
Well, I don't know that I've ever called myself a big cheese.
Head honcho.
Head honcho.
I've certainly never called myself that. I work for the SLS head honcho, who's officially the SLS program manager, and I think there's a reasonable chance that he and his deputy are drawing along with.
They're watching right now. Okay.
Hello, other head honchos. Hello, team head honcho Artemis. Woo!
So I'm the SLS program chief of staff, and they're about, in order to make it successful, the program has across the country about 5,800 people working on different parts of SLS over 44 states. So it's a huge effort, and I try and keep all of those pieces moving towards kind of the same goal and stitched together and working well together. So that's really my role as we kind of work towards our launch plan, first launch plan in 2021.
Awesome.
That's so
Very
cool.
exciting.
That's cool. And real quick, who do you have here with you today?
I have my son James, my younger son Owen, daughter Maya, and my wife Megan, and they're all drawing along in kind of different places at our kitchen table.
Awesome.
Hi, Megan. Hi, Owen. Hi, Maya. And hi, James. Here,
We're excited. We'll be checking
Dan,
in
can
with you
you see
guys
that?
and doing. We'll be checking in with you guys to do progress updates. So very cool. All right, so we all have our visions on how we're going to draw today. So we'll bring up Mark's drawing as he's showing us how he's going to depict Artemis, and we'll cut in between a few other different views. So I'll have my drawing here. So I've got some. Let me get these awesome patches out of the way. Sorry about that. I got the Artemis patch, my NASA patch. And I got my pencil, my handy dandy pencil.
That's so cool.
And I'm gonna be using my daughter's ruler. She loaned me her ruler today, so I can do some guidelines. And then Dan, I think Dan's got his art pad ready to go. So we've got 3 different art pad views we'll be switching between. And I tell you what, so you guys don't miss any of the action, I'm gonna bring up all the camera views down here just so everyone can see what's going on as we're drawing live. So this is all about Artemis. Tricia, you want to tell us a little bit about Artemis? Maybe kind of introduce the idea of how we're going to get to Mars, how we're going to go back to the moon?
Yeah. So the Artemis program is NASA's human lunar exploration program, and it takes a lot of pieces and a lot of parts and a lot of equipment and spacecrafts and rockets to get there. And the SLS is one of those important pieces. So Tyler, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Space Launch System and maybe what makes it different than some of the other rockets that are out there, and how is it going to help us get to the moon and onto Mars?
So SLS is different because it's just massive, and it's also meant to be a human-rated launch vehicle. If you can look at what Mark's drawing right now, he's drawing the core stage and the 2 boosters. The core stage, which is the part in the middle, is almost, it was 27.6 feet in diameter, and it's 212 feet long. And when it's empty, it weighs almost 200,000 pounds. So it's just huge. It burns for 8.5 minutes to get to low Earth orbit. The boosters on the side are solid rocket boosters, and they're full of what's called solid propellant, which feels much like the end of a pencil eraser. And so they each have about 1.5 million pounds of propellant in them, and that burns over about 2 minutes. And so as that goes, that's this equivalent to about 6 million pounds of propellant burning every second. So that's really just kind of a huge amount of force and energy that is expelled in order to lift kind of massive payloads and the astronauts into space. When it lifts off at ignition, the SLS makes 8.8 million pounds of thrust, and that lifts both the launch vehicle and Orion and the astronauts and all of the fuel that it needs for the rest of the journey. So that's really one of the big things that's kind of going. The part that he's drawing right now is the outline for Orion. And right below that is what we call the ICPS, which is the upper stage. And just like the core stage, it uses liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. The part that Mr. I won't call him Mr. Kistler.
You can call him Commander Mark.
Commander Mark is drawing right now is the inner stage. It's kind of an empty volume between the liquid hydrogen tank, which is on the bottom of the core stage, and the liquid oxygen tank, which is on the top of the core stage. The part that he's drawing kind of down below, he's putting the detail in right now, are the nozzles for the solid rocket boosters. When the fire and kind of the hot gas comes out of there, it's coming out at about 3,000 degrees. They test those in the mountains in Utah.
Ow, it's hot. Ow, it's hot.
Yeah. It's so hot that it melts the sand on the mountains behind where they tested it. It melts the sand, and then it cools so quickly that it turns into glass, and they call it rocket glass.
That's awesome. That's
Rocket
so cool.
glass.
See, I need some rocket glass. You got to hook me up.
I want rocket glass windows. That just sounds amazing.
That's so cool. So, so tell us a little bit about that solid propellant. It kind of has a connection to our pencils. We were talking a little bit about that earlier this week.
Yes, so it's very much like a kind of rubber when it's being put into the boosters. It goes in and it feels almost like modeling clay, and then as it cures and hardens and turns into the solid propellant, it kind of bakes at a low temperature, and it turns in and it feels and looks much like the end of a pencil eraser on kind of a Ticonderoga pencil, and it's just like a rubber eraser. It's got some stuff in it to help it burn at just the right temperature and just the right pressure, but it feels and looks a lot like a pencil eraser.
So Tyler, I've got to ask you. So you went to one of these test launches out in the desert, right?
Yes, and I worked out there and lived out there for a few years, so I've seen a few of them.
What is that like? I mean, can you describe to us the sound and the vibrations? I mean, what do you feel? What do you hear? I mean, how close are you? What does it look like?
Well, depending on what you're doing on that particular test, you can be as close as about a half a mile away. The last one I went out for, I watched from the road with my family, and on that one, you see the flames start to come out, and then it's kind of surreal because it's going for a while, and you're about a mile and a half away, and then the sound and the pressure wave washes over you a while after the actual flame that started, and you feel it kind of hit your chest, and it's just been a roar for almost 2 minutes, and then strange at the end, the flame stops, but you still hear the roar for a minute as the sound is still washing over you, but the the light has stopped heading your way.
That's crazy. So that's
Wow,
the booster.
great.
That's the booster
Great
test.
description.
But we do engine tests too, and we've done quite a few out at Stennis Space Center in Mississippi. So talk to a little bit about those tests, because that's a very different experience, especially if that cloud comes your way.
Yes, and so he's drawing, those are 4, we call them RS-25s. On the space shuttle, we used them on the back of the space shuttle. They were referred to as the space shuttle main engines. They've been adapted for SLS. Each of those makes about 500,000 pounds of thrust at liftoff. When we go for test, they start igniting 8 seconds before liftoff. At 10 seconds before ignition, they get the command go for engine start. They've been tested kind of a total of over 1 million seconds at Stennis. You can get closer to those. The RS-25, which he's drawing now, burn liquid hydrogen as the fuel. And that liquid hydrogen is about minus 420 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's really, really super cold. And then it uses liquid oxygen to help burn that fuel. Inside the RS-25s, this is one of the things that is, the RS-25s experience really extreme temperatures. The inside of the combustion chamber, where the hydrogen and the oxygen combine to burn, gets to be over 6,000 degrees, which is actually hot enough to boil iron.
Wow.
So they get super hot, and they're one of the most efficient engines ever made. That's why we're using them. And they're also a high thrust engine. So they make a great deal of thrust and very efficient. So they get good gas mileage, and they have a lot of accelerating capability as well.
That's amazing.
Have you guys actually calculated the mile per gallon for? I don't want to put you on the spot.
I was that number handy.
I would suspect it's not like a smart car, right?
You can't do the math that fast. Come on, Tyler.
I'm afraid that I would not do well if I tried to do it in a hurry.
That's okay. That's okay. So while we're getting pretty along with our drawings, and so we do have a quick video that we wanted to show you guys that kind of puts all of the pieces of Artemis together. So it takes lots of pieces to make a great program like the Artemis program. You got to have a rocket and spacecraft. We have a gateway, which is an outpost in orbit around the moon. We have human landers. You have to have spacesuits. Of course, you have to have astronauts, and then all the team on the ground at NASA, mission control and ground systems that support our missions. And so we want to show a quick 1-minute video that kind of shows all of those pieces together and what it takes to get to the moon. And that is the animation that was hand-drawn, and then animated by John Streeter at Johnson Space Center. So we have a lot of artists that work at NASA that help tell the story of human spaceflight and help kind of put all of these big, complicated ideas and take them and put them in a beautiful, beautiful story, whether it's a visual story through a video, or maybe it's an amazing picture or a graphic. So, Jack, if you're ready, let's show that video.
So you want to go to Mars. How do we send humans to deep space? In order for humans to explore the moon, Mars, and beyond, we need safe, flexible, and powerful systems that will make it all possible. We start with the world's largest spaceport. At Kennedy Space Center, we have all the buildings and tools needed to assemble and launch space vehicles, and have the teams in place to recover the astronauts when they come home to Earth. Next up, we need a deep space rocket. This is NASA's Space Launch System. It will be the most powerful rocket NASA has ever built, and it has the muscle to lift people and all of the equipment needed for missions to new worlds. The Space Launch System will blast off with the crew in the Orion spacecraft. The most advanced spacecraft ever built for human exploration, Orion provides the life support, power, communications, and other systems to safely transport astronauts on a variety of exploration missions, like to the moon. In lunar orbit, we will learn to live and work in a deep space environment, something we have never done before. In future missions, NASA's Gateway will be a place for astronauts to live, work, and prepare for missions deeper into the solar system. There you have it, NASA's Deep Space Exploration Systems, charting our new future in space. To find out more about deep space exploration, visit this NASA website.
that was pretty cool.
Very
you know
cool.
that. And did you mention that won an Emmy? Or that
Oh,
series
it did.
won an
It
Emmy?
did. There's a whole "So You Want to Go to Mars" series, and I can post it in the chat later on. But there's a series of videos that talk about NASA and our exploration, and it won an Emmy for that category of animation. I can't remember exactly what the Emmy was,
Gotcha.
but yeah, it did
Can
win
you-
an Emmy. Just
Can
like you,
post
Mark.
that? Oh, God. Woo, oh, yeah. Oh, I just happened to put it in the background. Just, oh, what? Oh, there, oh my goodness. Hey, where are you going to post that? Can you post that to my Facebook
I
and
can.
YouTube?
I can post it to
Instagram.
Yeah, I can post it in the chat for the YouTube stream, and then also in the Facebook chat area. But then I'll send the links out to you later on so you can share it as well.
Right. Okay, I'll put this on the YouTube and the Instagram. I don't know, Dan, if you pulled that up yet, but I would love to have those links. That sounds terrific. And go ahead and continue on
So-
there,
so
you
we just
guys. You're
switched
doing
over
such
to-
a great job. I love working with you guys. I just have to draw, and you guys you are awesome. I love you. Keep going. You just go ahead and introduce the national treasure, Dan Fragaboom.
Oh man, so we got Dan's drawings up, and I hate to say this, but Dan, I hate you. You're so talented.
I'm drawing our astronaut right now.
That is
That's
awesome.
so cool.
Oh, it's always look
amazing.
at that.
So we do have a short little video. I want to show us some of Dan's work. So if you'll indulge us for just a second, Dan just is so talented, and I hate to say this, but I hate you, Dan. I hate you. You're so talented. All right. So anyway, let me just roll this quick video, just give you a sense of how cool it is to have Dan here today. Very, very talented. So thanks for sharing that with us and being here today.
That's
And-
wonderful, Dan.
And interpreting and you'll post these, right, Dan? You'll put these out there with your hashtag Draw Artemis, so we can see the finished product.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Dan to put them on. I'll get him. He'll text it to me. I'll put them on my Instagram and Facebook too for all you viewers.
Awesome.
I can't wait to see Dan's finished piece. It's gonna be so cool.
Awesome. So we've got spacesuits up where I'm looking at your spacesuit, and we actually NASA just released another Draw Artemis, and the spacesuit PDF is out. And hopefully we'll get to draw with Mark again. We'll work out some details, but maybe we'll get to draw again, and we'll get to draw a spacesuit and some of the other Artemis pieces. But
Who wants to draw again? I need a lot of people. Let's see how many people send a text right now to Facebook and to YouTube. You guys having fun? First of all, give me a 1 through 10. How are you doing on your drawing of the SLS, the largest rocket ever to lift off the planet Earth because of head honcho Big Cheese and his team of how many? Tyler, there's 5,000 in just the SLS team. Is that correct?
A little more than 5,000 just working on SLS, different people. About
Wow.
contractors
so
and
cool.
vendors.
All right, and hey, thanks for being a good sport about me calling you Big Cheese. I think it kind of entertains me. So I'm just, I'm going to take a sip of my decaf out of my NASA. Do you see this, Jack? Are they seeing my little
Yeah.
NASA
Very
mug?
impressive. I see
wanted-
it. Yep.
Yeah, with my NASA magnet astronaut, okay? And wait a minute, I went to the gift store. Oh! Here, I got to show you this. This is cool. Oh, yeah. Am I a fan or what? I was going to wear my NASA t-shirt. I have 3 of them, but I figured that you guys with your cool... all right. So, hey, Dan,
Yeah.
go ahead with the program. I'll drink my decaf and keep drawing. I'm like, my new role is comic relief for the NASA Artemis drawing program.
Well, it takes a lot of folks, right? We need
That's
artists,
right.
we need comics, we
Takes a
need-
village.
So let's do a status check. So we got Dan's drawing here. Looks like we're making a lot of good progress on your astronaut. My looks like my SLS.
Let me see yours.
I'm like going back and forth between views, but I'm still making some
Oh,
progress.
that's
I got,
cool,
like,
Dan.
Oh, that's
Jack,
mine.
yours
That's
is great.
Jack.
Although
Jack,
I would
Jack,
love
Jack.
be
I
able
have to look
take
at the name.
Credit for Dan's work. Tyler, how's your family doing? How are their drawings coming along?
They're doing pretty well. I can turn and they can kind of hold theirs up.
Hi,
Hey,
guys.
Hold it up. Oh, look at that.
That's amazing.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Oh,
Great
those are
job.
awesome.
Hey,
Very
can you
cool.
one at a time? Tyler, can one at a time? Can you have them come to you one at a time, and then have them hold it steady toward the camera? Where I got to see these. We got to show the world. So have
Okay.
them come to you. Have them
One.
walk over to you, and then stand right next to you, and then
Okay.
take the drawing. They have to stand right next to you, over your shoulder,
Owen,
and
come.
then you take the drawing and you move it toward the camera slowly. Let me see it. Let me see your drawing. Oh, there you go. Hold it closer, 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 and freeze right there. That is so cool. Oh my gosh, that is great. All right, go sit down. You're doing great. Now, Megan, get Megan's up here.
Then Megan will show you hers.
All right, come here, Megan. Megan. All right, now move it.
Oh, nice.
There's wife. There's awesome. Thank you, Megan. And then what about James? Was that just James?
That was Megan, and you've seen Owens, and then this
Is that Maya's or James?
James.
Good
James,
job,
look at the
James.
flame.
That's
Nice.
great.
Very nice.
Maya, do you want to show yours?
Yeah, let me see Maya. Maya, come here. Maya, get your smiley face in here, hon. Get over here, Maya. You did your hair and everything. We got to see that hair.
Wow.
I love it.
Oh, nice.
You know what? I like your style. I think NASA should be more colorful in some of our spacecrafts. What do you
Maya,
think?
that is so awesome. Good job, Maya. We're proud of you, and your hair is awesome. Good job.
Me too. That's right. You tell your daddy that. But to spend the extra money to paint the spacecraft and the rocket, right?
Good job, guys. Awesome job.
Thank you for sharing your drawings, kids. That was really cool. And Megan, thank you.
So, Mark, you and I talk a lot about how important it is to try and to practice, and that if your drawing isn't perfect, it's okay. So, why don't you kind of talk to your drawers a little bit about your philosophy and how it's okay to fail and flop sometimes.
Well, you have to be able to take a creative risk. Give yourself permission to fail. You have to give yourself permission to stretch out of your comfort zone. And I even made, and I spelled it correctly this time for Robert and Ken and all my friends who just blew up my Facebook comment page because last week I misspelled it. And so I misspelled it right. Thank you very much, Jack Moore, for your spelling of that. So you give yourself the license to flop. You must fail. You got to fail over and over again to succeed. So I tell my students during my every day, I'm doing these hour of pencil powers. I hope you join me. I have another few weeks left of at noon Central Time on Facebook and YouTube. My hour of pencil powers, and we do a whole hour. Here, I got to show you. Want to see one of our hours from yesterday? If I can pull it up without distracting the whole temple of the show. But you got to see this from yesterday. Look at this. This was just yesterday's. Can I show that? Look at that.
Please.
Isn't that fun? Because I was so excited about the rocket taking off, and I've been inspired by so many different comic artists. So this was inspired by Bill Watterson from Calvin and Hobbes, his cardboard transmographer. This was our imagination transporter. So if you guys, I hope you guys join me for more drawing, and give yourself, each day you pick up your pencil, give yourself that creative license, that permission to flop, that license to flop, okay? You can even draw one of these up, cut it out, and put it in your pocket. I was talking with Tyler and with Patricia and Jack during our rehearsals, and they actually have a video that explains this even better.
Yeah, so Tyler, why don't you kind of cue it up and talk a little bit about how NASA tests and how sometimes we test for failure so we don't fail once we go into space.
Yes, one of my mentors talked early on when he was helping me get used to the world of aerospace that we understand by testing. And oftentimes we try to test to the very limits of the hardware. And sometimes we will call that test to failure. And other times we will call that testing to capability, because we test to establish the very edge of capability for the hardware that we're seeking to do. And so sometimes what we will do is we will seek to understand how something might fail, and then we will test to see what the capability of that is, and then we will use that to see does it fail in the way we think it would fail and when we would think it would fail, in order so that we can better understand how it will behave when we use it as we're trying to get from Earth into space.
Yeah, and so you guys did a test to fail not that long ago. So why don't you kind of explain a little bit about it, and then we'll show the video to everyone.
All right. So Mark was earlier drawing, and you're seeing there where we talked about drawing the core stage with the liquid hydrogen tank. That's one of the big tests. We did a structural test of that. We tested up to about 40% higher than the loads. That's what we want to show, bigger than anything was ever going to experience in flight. And then what we wanted to do was see how much extra capacity and capability is there in the design and in the piece of hardware. And so they tested that, they put it under pressure, and then they stretched it and bent it and pulled on it to see how would it fail, and what does that mean, and what can we learn from doing that.
Okay, so Jack, why don't you cue up the video?
All right, so there's some interesting things that happen in this video that we're going to take a look at. So there's two distinctive booms. There's an initial one, and then there's a grand finale. What is happening here?
So what's going on there is that's pressurized, and they tested that using nitrogen. And so it's pressurized, and then they're pulling and bending that while it's pressurized, and it gets up to more than twice the biggest loads it's ever going to see. And then it popped a little bit, and that was like a slinky. It had a bunch of energy stored in it, and that got released. And when it got released, all of a sudden it was a huge boom. And then they started to relax the load and take it off. And then strangely, the stretching they were doing was actually helping it stay together. When they let go of that, it unzipped, and you see that kind of phenomenal big failure at the very end.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So what did we learn from that? I mean, were they good results, bad results? I mean, how did that play into certifying the vehicle?
Well, for us, it was fantastic results, but that was what was called a buckling failure. And it failed in the same place and in exactly the same manner as we thought it was going to. So then what that meant is that the computer models that we used in order to do our design work and to do kind of our predictions, that said that we had those tuned just right. And the engineering that we were using, when we combined that with everything, that it was going just right and that we were on track to fly. And we're going to do a similar test with the liquid oxygen tank here in the next few months to show the same thing and to confirm the same thing as we get ready for our flight in 2021.
That's so cool.
That is cool. So we got that to look forward to.
Yeah, so what are some of the other things that are coming up within the next year or so as we get ready for Artemis 1, the first mission for SLS? So what all do we need to do? What's left to get ready to fly?
One of the big things that's coming up, you mentioned Stennis earlier, is what we call the core stage green run. That's a full-scale, full-duration test of the very first core stage. It's going to be a 8-minute firing of the core stage with all 4 engines running at full power. That's going to happen late this summer, early in the fall. Once that's done and we've got all the data there, then we send the core stage to Florida to be assembled with the boosters and ICPS and Orion. And then we'll do some checkout with our EGS partners at KSC. And they'll do what's called integrated testing and checkout of the fully assembled SLS and Orion on the ML. And then once that's done, we'll be ready for flight. And that we think is going to happen sometime next summer or into the fall.
That's awesome.
So I have a question. So for the green run, and maybe this is rumor control. I hope I don't get in trouble here.
Please don't get in trouble.
Get in trouble. Get in trouble. Get in trouble. We want get in trouble.
So when they do the green run, or when they do the firings out there, I've heard that the engines are so powerful, and with the chemicals that we use, that it actually makes it rain near the test site. Is that true? False? What's going on there?
Yes, that when you burn hydrogen with oxygen, it makes water. And so they're going to pump so much water into the air that it makes a massive cloud. And with all 4 engines going right at once, there will be a massive steam cloud, and there will be some local rain that comes. So it will be a spectacular test when that is done.
Yeah, so it could be a beautiful sunny day with not a cloud in the sky, and then here comes the residue, which is basically it's just water vapor, right?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's just And if you look, the hydrogen tank is about twice as big as the oxygen tank, and that's you're going to get just pure water coming out of the 4 engines.
That's so cool.
You know, one of the things that excites me the most about that factoid is that it's true, and I get to keep my job.
And you didn't get Tyler and I in trouble.
Good job. I'm proud of you, Jack. I'm proud
I
of
was
you.
worried when he said he was going to ask something. I was like, oh, what are you going to ask?
All right, so I'm gonna go check in on Dan over here, who's making some pretty killer progress. So Dan, we got a little bit of misfocus on your camera. Maybe you can kind of adjust that a little bit. I really want to check out. Wow.
Oh, that's so cool. So is that you on the moon?
No, I would never assume.
Never
I would never assume.
Hey, Dan.
Yes.
Dan, what is your earliest memory of getting inspired by the dream of NASA space travel?
Very early on, when I was a little boy, my parents' house was near an airport, so I very early on was interested in aerospace, how things could fly through the air. You know, that was the first time, and then when I found out that they didn't only just go through the air, but they also could go into orbit, and that we'd been to other planets. The sky, I mean, it's a pun, but sky was the limit. I was amazed by that. I always wanted to go to space camp as a kid, too.
Well, you know, it's not too late. They have space camp at Huntsville, Alabama, and they do it for adults, and then they also have space camp for families. So when your kids get a certain age, you guys can go and do space camp together. It's a plug for the U.S.
Sounds awesome.
Space and Rocket Center.
That sounds awesome.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, we're going to do that one day where Jack and I and the girls are going to go and do a family camp. Maybe
I'm
we can
surprised
go
you
together.
haven't done
It'll
it
be
yet.
fun. I know. Well,
One of these days.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Jack and Patricia and Dan, let's all take our kids. And Tyler, let's all do it together. I'll bring my 18-year-old special abilities guy. Mario will love it.
it'll be fun for sure. That's so fun. So
Okay, it's on my calendar.
Yeah, so I have a question for everyone who's drawing, or just something to think about. So our Artemis program sends us back to the moon, but that's not the only place that we want to go. We're going to use the moon as a place to test and to understand what it's like to live and work in deep space far from Earth, and then we're going to go to Mars. But who knows what could happen after that? You know, maybe we go on to other planets or moons of other planets like Europa or Titan or someplace like that. So use your imagination, and as you're drawing your Space Launch System rocket, think about where do you want to go? Where do you want your rocket to take you? So,
I know.
Where
I know where I
Mark?
go. I'm going to Saturn. I dream of actually being able to see the rings of Saturn. I'm going to draw it right here. I want to see the rings of Saturn. I want to see it up close. Well, not too close, right? But I want to see it.
Yeah, not too close. You get sucked in, right? The gravity of Saturn's pretty intense. You don't want to get too close. But yeah, those rings, it's super cool. Did you know they're made of ice and dust?
It's so cool. Yeah.
It's super cool.
And also, we're using foreshortened circles, lots of foreshortened circles. And you guys, can you tell them one more time where they can download this great PDF? Because look at just real quick. Let me show you. Look at all these wonderful foreshortened circles. Look at all this. It's all built on foreshortened circles and two parallel lines. These are parallel lines, parallel and contour, curving the line to give it shape and volume. And also, we're using shading. Go ahead, Patricia. Tell us the link.
So you can Google it. I'm posting it in the chat box right there. If you look for my name, Patricia Moore, you'll see the PDF there. But if you're not able to see it for some reason, all you need to do is Google Draw Artemis SLS, and it'll take you to the NASA website, and it'll have the PDF there. So you can say Draw Artemis Orion spacecraft, Draw Artemis Space Launch System, and even Draw Artemis spacesuit. And all three of those PDFs are available for you to download and to use if you want to draw again after the program. And
hey, Dan, where would you go?
Yeah, Dan, where are you going to go?
I would find a nice place to terraform and create my own planet and you know start civilization there.
Planet Fraga.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got it.
Fraga.
Well, Tyler, what about you? Where would you go?
I have to admit that I am very particular to exploring Mars or Europa. Mars because they think life could have been there. Europa because they think life might be there today.
Yeah.
Oh.
So out of
Is
all
that
the
an
places,
official NASA statement?
I think if you go and look at official NASA statements, that you will see that we have officially said what I just said,
Yep.
and I can be
Officially.
inspired
You're
by the
safe.
official statements like everybody else. So
Yeah.
I work on the process, but I like the ways that we could go put it to use.
Yeah, so on Europa, there are methane oceans underneath the crust. And so we even have a mission NASA's working on called Europa Clipper, which is going to send a robot to the surface. And then we hope to be able to get in underneath those oceans and see if there's any life. And Titan is a moon of Saturn. So maybe you could draw Titan, little moon next to your Saturn, Mark. And Titan
Right here?
Yeah, so Titan
Right here, right here. Tell me where do I do? Right
on
here?
the moon next to Saturn, just something orbiting, like a little small little moon
Right
orbiting
there?
Saturn. Yeah, and Titan is pretty exciting because it has the closest atmosphere to Earth at any other planet or moon out there. And we're gonna send Dragonfly. Is that right? I hope I'm saying the right mission. Dragonfly is going to Titan.
I'm just drawing here.
Okay, I hope I'm saying the right thing. We have a mission later on, like in 2027 or a little farther away, and Dragonfly is gonna fly. So it's like a little helicopter, that's gonna fly on Titan. Is that right, Tyler? Am I saying that right? Do you know?
I'm not as familiar with that. I'm more familiar with some of the larger exploration missions, and for some of those bigger missions later on, we're even building a bigger version of SLS that we call the Block 1B with an EUS to help enable large-scale exploration of places like Europa and Mars for human missions.
Yeah. Okay. I looked it up. I'm right. I'm not saying anything wrong. So yeah, Dragonfly is a planned mission that's going to go to Titan, and we're going to study the chemistry and extraterrestrial habitability of different locations on Titan.
So I will say that there are some interesting things about SLS. The big missions like Artemis, where we're getting humans back to the moon and building the gateway. But there's also these sort of mini missions that SLS is going to be able to accomplish on its way to the moon, right? So as we're going, there's going to be some satellites we'll be able to deploy. It has expanded capability that I don't know if a lot of people know about.
Yeah,
that.
so on the first Artemis 1 mission, we're going to have 13 CubeSats, which are small little, hold on just a second, baby. We're going to have 13 CubeSats that are going to be deployed, and those are like little mini scientific satellites and instruments. So Tyler, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so towards the top on my screen, I'm looking at Dan's drawing. Just underneath Orion, there's what they're calling a secondary payload dispenser. And along the way from low Earth orbit out to the moon and then beyond, we affectionately call these places bus stops, where different payloads can get off the bus and do their scientific missions. Some of them happen along the way to the moon, and then once Orion has dropped off, there are even some bus stops after. Some of them involve exploring the sun, some of them involve exploring in space, some of them involve scientific objectives around the moon. But there are a number of these secondary objectives, and there are kind of payloads from all around the world, both the US and international partners that are seeking to accomplish objectives along the way.
That's so cool. Yeah, there's so much to be learned and so many exciting things. So I want to Patrick wants to show you his picture,
here,
Mark. So we're gonna.
Bring it over here.
Oh, let me
Put it on
see.
my,
Come over, stand behind Jack.
Okay, hi.
Oh, this is
Hi,
great.
buddy.
All right.
Yeah, I'm making
Here we
go.
like,
Hold it up so I can-
rocket,
Tell him I
The
love his
Artemis?
Superboy shirt.
and the NASA symbol too.
So he's got the Artemis logo and the NASA logo and our Space Launch System rocket, which he's gonna work on next
He's
in the
working
middle.
on that. He's gonna fill in
Yeah,
the details
I'm
here.
using. I'm like making every single detail.
Oh, I see. So you use these as templates to get the
Here,
form.
I use colored
Hey,
pencils.
Nice.
here, stand between between Jack and Patricia and
Here,
wave
come
real
here,
quick.
kiddo.
Right in the middle. I want to see him.
Right.
Volume is low, so we may want to.
Show us your shirt.
Come right between
Show us your
us.
shirt.
Here we go.
That's so cool. There's your drawing.
Nice.
Show shirt, and he's
That's right.
super artist.
Yeah, he
wait.
is.
Yeah, that's awesome. You handsome devil.
He is handsome double. All
Great
right.
drawings. That's so cool.
All right,
Good
Tyler.
job.
So
We
we're
showed our
going on
families
with-
off. How's your family doing?
They're doing pretty well. I'll have them kind of stand up and come around. So James and Megan, you want to show your picture? This is Owens.
Owens.
Oh, wow.
Nice job.
Look at that. Is
I
that
love
somebody,
it, man. It's...
somebody with the U.S. flag? Are they on the surface of the moon there?
And
There's Megan. Good job there, Megan.
Fly me to the
Fly
moon.
me. Okay, I love it.
And James.
Very nice. I
Look at
really
that
like
shading.
the shading. That's
James,
awesome.
nice
job.
shading. That's cool.
I like.
It's interesting how they pick different points of view. They pick different artists to follow, from Jack to Dan to me. That's really cool.
I like the way James had his engine flares sort of overlapping in a really interesting way. That was pretty cool.
It actually is a very complex engineering problem to figure out how those different plumes will interact and what that means for how the vehicle will fly. So there's a lot of work that goes into that. I don't know that James did all that this afternoon, but another day.
So I have to ask you, between the three artists here, who has the more accurate engine plume? You got Mark here.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Jack,
Mark's
come
here.
on.
Oh,
We've
oh
got,
my gosh, Paul.
We've
I didn't
got,
put a single plume, not one plume.
Well, and then finally we've got, I don't know if mine's very accurate. I did a loop-de-loop on the way up. I don't think it quite does that, but...
Oh, that's so cool, Jack.
Can I show them the
Dan,
black boy
Dan Fraga Boom, yours is, I love that. I love your shooting stat, the comet in the background, and the guy.
If somebody requested that, wasn't that you, Jack?
Yeah, we
I
want a
did.
comment.
I think I challenged you, and I feel like I need to give you more to draw, but it's
There's
I'm just blown away.
surface of the moon, an
With the
astronaut,
detail.
the ship, the.
And you draw the vacuum for my son Mario somewhere on the moon's surface.
Yeah.
Oh
we
yeah,
gotta-
it's on the dark. It's on the dark side of the moon.
Yeah,
It's on
okay,
the other
okay.
side.
I'll tell Mario.
So
He
all
was
of
supposed
these.
to be here. I'm feeling so sad. I was going to show Mario's drawing, but he's out mowing the yard before it rains. Right during our international NASA Artemis drawing.
That's
the
okay.
joy of life, right?
Did you show
The
his
joy of
vacuum,
parenting.
his Orion vacuum that he made for the last the
Oh,
last show?
good. Yeah, here. Well, he did this one for the SLS. He made an Auric vacuum for this. This is what he did today, and then the Orion vacuum. It's buried. He has so many back over there, but here I'll do this. Here, he made this little paper puppet so we can vacuum the capsule.
Oh, here, let me bring it up. I got to switch views there. There it is.
Oh yeah.
Got the,
Okay. Ready?
yeah,
All
let's
right,
see
so
it.
There you go. All right. So this is the vacuum that he made a little paper puppet,
Yeah.
and so we're gonna vacuum. Isn't that the cutest thing?
You guys are such an
He's so
animated
cool.
family.
And then now wait, let me show this. Did you see this already? Did you already show that? His Auric
Ah.
vacuum. Hey, look at that. He went color. He went all. So he's like my hero, man.
That's
So
awesome. So,
you can read more about him on my Facebook page.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. And so all these drawings are so cool. And so for all of you that are drawing with us, it's super important that you share them with NASA because we want to see what you've done. And you can post them to Instagram, you can post them to Twitter or Facebook, and do hashtag draw Artemis. And Mark had it up there on his page right there, hashtag draw Artemis. And NASA is retweeting and reposting on Instagram a lot of the artwork that's been created all over the world. So so please share your drawings with us. We want to see them, and maybe you'll be one of the lucky people that get to have your drawings shared and from the NASA platforms and the NASA social media accounts.
Yeah,
I want to talk you guys into carrying some of these
I'm not
kids'
gonna
drawings
stop the drawing.
up to the moon on the SLS. I'm putting that little bug in you guys
Yeah,
here.
that
I want-
Tyler, that's all you. I don't have any say on the payload.
Yeah, Tyler, we gotta get some of these genius drawings in the astronauts' pockets, and they'll take them up with them to the moon.
That would be cool.
Hey, something that's kind of cool to think about, it's like a lot of kids nowadays, they have something that Patricia and I didn't have. They have a rocket that can actually get them to the moon now. So, if they wanted to be an astronaut and go to the moon, if they studied math and science and want to go to the moon, man, that is a future for them. They can actually do that, right? So that's super exciting. So for folks that want to consider that, oh, hold on a second, Tyler,
Put
I
it
just
back
missed
up
it.
there.
Can you put
Wait
it
a
back up? Wow, wall-to-wall color.
Love it. It's beautiful. Good job.
That is so awesome.
That's
Good
frameable.
job there.
Oh, we
I
got-
want a copy of that, Tyler.
Is there
Please.
somebody else in
please
line?
take a picture. Oh, there you go.
Oh, here's our nephews.
Yep.
He finished his NASA meatball there.
And his Artemis patch.
I
So
also
good.
added a black hole, if you see that.
Yeah, he's got a black hole
Black
there.
hole. Very good.
Yeah. So
That
Jack
is
was
so great.
mentioning
Good job, I.
coming and working at NASA and STEM, and it's important for kids who want to be engineers and scientists, and maybe somebody like Tyler. Definitely, your math and science are super important. So sticking with those STEM type courses. But there were a lot of people at NASA that didn't take a STEM route. Jack and I are one of them.
True,
We have artists at NASA that help tell the story. We have photographers and videographers and people who draw, and Mark and I have talked about this before, where it all starts with a drawing. So someone says, okay, we're going to need a spacecraft, or we're going to need an aircraft, or we need a rocket that's going to get us here, and we know we're going to want to use these types of boosters or these types of engines, and then they start sketching out what they think it might look like. So that initial product, that initial idea starts on a napkin or maybe on a whiteboard in a meeting. And then from there, they all decide, yeah, I like this, I don't like this. And then they start taking those images and putting it into computer, and then it gets way more technical along the lines.
That's
So
right.
it all starts with a drawing.
It really does.
It
As a matter
all starts with the drawing. And hey, I got two things I want to say about that.
Go for it.
One, you mentioned the STEM STEM curriculum goals for our country and around the world, of all the schools in the world really emphasizing science, technology, engineering, and math. Well, I, along with millions of art teachers, we are proposing and promoting the idea of putting A right in the middle.
And STEAM,
Because art,
yeah.
you need some full steam ahead. We got to take NASA full steam ahead. Science, technology, engineering. The most important component, because I'm an artist, is art is the power of the visual arts. Because you take the science, technology, engineering, and math, and you make it attainable, you make it applicable to the real world. Without the artist, without that imagination and creativity, how are you going to be able to apply all this information, all this technology to make it work, to make it happen, to reach our dreams?
Right, it takes all kinds. If you look at what kinds of people work at NASA, you have business people, lawyer, finance folks, educators, artists, videographer, photographer, people who do communication outreach, and then the bulk of the folks that work at NASA are engineers and scientists, and only a small few are the astronauts. So it takes so many different kinds of people with talents to make NASA and the space program work.
What about artists?
And I said artists.
Well, yeah, artists were in there, and I do need to give a shout out to someone that came in to work for NASA last summer, my intern, Cassidy, who actually did the backdrop you see behind us. So you can't see all of it because it's gigantic, but she did a great job. She's studying art at the University of Houston Clear Lake and came in and did some work for us. So she is very, very talented, and we are hoping to bring people in because artists help to communicate what we're doing. I mean, we think about it, this is a very complex endeavor, going to the moon and these orbits and designs. I mean, these exist in computer models, and it's very challenging to communicate. But as artists, we get the exciting job of getting a handle on that and communicating it through some very exciting art forms. In fact, as we wrap up today, we have a very cool video we want to leave you with that shows you how SLS, how all of our drawings are going to play a role into getting us back to the moon. So you'll see this rocket in action as interpreted by one of our NASA artists, and I think they did a really genius job. So
before we do that, Tyler, we want to give your family one more chance to come back and show us what you've got, and maybe any parting words you have for the folks to maybe get them excited about SLS and our Artemis program.
All right. Well, I will have Owen, and this is Owen's final drawing for today.
very cool.
James, you want to show me yours? This is James's final drawing for today.
Oh, I got the hashtag on there.
Good job.
Speaking to my communications heart. Good job.
Hi.
And then I'll grab Megan's.
That's great.
Beautiful.
Good job.
Awesome. Did she use a watercolor there?
She had some colored pencils that
Awesome.
she was using.
Nice.
Very nice.
To mark. We're all on SLS, kind of super excited for our first launch coming up in 21. And then our first crewed launch is scheduled to be right now in 22, and then we're going to do kind of our follow-on launches in 23 and 24 to enable the moon landing. For many of us, we've been working on this for quite a while, and we can't wait to get to where we're back to launching crew to kind of ambitious destinations.
Yeah,
So that's really what we're excited about.
Very cool.
For those that are drawing, we mentioned the next iteration. A lot of the people who are drawing today would be candidates to be kind of the astronauts who would go to Mars on SLS when that's coming. That's kind of the timelines that we're looking at. So that's the part that we're all excited about doing.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, and Tyler, thank you for making the time with you and your family. It's been great having you here to sort of help explain all this awesome stuff. Dan?
Yeah, man.
Now that we've got everybody excited about your artwork, how can we follow your work and learn more about your drawings and where can we find your stuff, man?
If you search Couch Doodle, CouchDoodles on YouTube, you can find me on YouTube under Couch Doodles. Same thing on Instagram, where we talk about how to draw, try to take the things that Commander Mark taught us as kids and translate them through my crazy Fraga brain, and I share that with the world. I also have a comic book that's on Indiegogo called Black Flag. If anybody wants to check that out on Indiegogo.com, just search for Black Flag and you'll see the comic book. But my main thing for everyone, whatever it is you're doing, whether it's drawing, writing, dancing, washing dishes, who knows, be and do your best. That's my philosophy, is to be and do your best. I bet you didn't know that during this whole thing I spilled an entire cup of coffee on my desk.
No, we didn't. You played that really well.
I noticed your camera went away. I can't click to it.
Yeah. No, I before I started drawing the ink part, when you asked me to hold it up to the camera, my sketchbook hit my cup and all over the floor. But still,
Hey, that's okay. This morning we were going to go live at noon, and we had no internet, so we had to reschedule.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming back, and Tyler, thank you guys, and for everybody changing their schedules to come back, and all of our folks that are drawing along with us. You guys are awesome. We appreciate you. Mark, do you want to send us out here with some parting words?
Thank you. Which camera am I looking at? Are we doing?
Oh, you're looking at the right one.
Oh. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Was that worth an hour or what? Be sure to make a comment. Do you want us to come back? And I want Jack and Patricia to be there for every show in the future. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all that information. Tyler, that was absolutely fascinating. Just great. I loved it. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Dan, thank you for making the time of your busy schedule to make this part of your day. It was just fabulous. I can't wait to see the drawing. I can see a little teeny tiny of it up on the screen, so you can text it to me, okay? Yay.
And don't forget, hashtag draw Artemis. Share your drawings. Hashtag draw Artemis.
Please share your drawing on hashtag draw Artemis. Remember, every day, Monday through Friday at noon for the rest of this month anyways, our hour of pencil power drawing every day at noon. And for all of you out there who want to continue supporting us in our mission to bring drawing to the kids of the world, you'll see our Draw 3D membership. It's a family membership. For you guys that are watching this special program, we're offering a really, really cool, generous family discount, 75% off. So it's 500 drawing lessons. It's a wonderful program. Of course, it's all me drawing, so I'm going to say that, right? All right. Well, thank you guys. We'll see you next Saturday. I hope if I can talk Jack and Patricia into going through all this anxiety and stress to put this together. You did a great job. Oh my goodness. Thumbs up. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye, Mark. Thanks for having us. We'll see you guys around soon.
Harrison
Take care.
says bye. Woo. Bye, Harrison.
Bye, guys.
Woo.
4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff.